Well, good morning, everybody. It is, my light came on, so it's still kind of dark. I'm not used to this. It's 7 o'clock. And I've been walking for a little while, not too long, maybe 30 minutes. And it's hard to get motivated to get up and walk at 5 or 5:30, as I have been doing when I was in Maine, when it's just completely black dark outside, you know. So, but I still did walk in the dark. I had my headlamp on earlier, and I probably could use it right now. It's still pretty dark, but overall a pretty good night's sleep. I was kind of tired, to be honest, and it was pretty quiet. I did have a visitor late yesterday evening. I was sitting out front. I didn't have very much phone signal, and it's the reason I wasn't able to get yesterday's video up as soon as I was hoping to. But I was sitting out there and I had one bar. I talked on the phone a couple times. I was doing my best to upload a video, but it wasn't gonna. Well, I didn't have enough signal to get a video up. And looked off to my left and saw Mr. Black Bear heading my way. So I'll show you a clip of that real quick. It was interesting. It was a pretty brief encounter. So he's a young bear, probably a little teenager. I doubt he's much more than he might have been 100 pounds. I don't know. But once he saw me and I made a little bit of noise, he turned and went the other way, which is kind of typical for black bears. They're not very aggressive. But nevertheless, I made sure that the cage I was sleeping in was well secured for sure last night. And I saw or heard no further movement after that. Neither from mice or from bears. But today's going to be a little shorter day in terms of mileage. Got 15 miles. And again, it should get us pretty much on the crest of the Smokies, and I can start kind of bumping along the top. But we're headed to another shelter. I can't remember the name of the shelter. I think it's Thomas Knob. I can't remember. But a shorter day in terms of miles, but the elevation gains are pretty significant. So right now I'm kind of doing a side trail I don't know what you call it, where you're going around the side of the mountain, not up the mountain. So it'll turn in a minute and I'll be climbing again. But yeah, it should be a pretty decent day again. No rain in the forecast. Temperatures should get up into the 80s again. And just got to continue to drink a lot of water. But everything else is going okay. We just got to kind of settle into this routine. So we'll go ahead and make a few miles, and I'll share with you kind of the broader overview of what the plan looks like. Have a good day, and we'll catch up with you a little bit further down the path. All right, everybody, just checking in. This rock wall that was built, I'm sure this was built by the CCC back when the Appalachia Trail was first constructed. There's a massive amount of work in this wall. Makes you wonder where they got the rocks. I mean, they didn't haul them up here. I have to believe that maybe they carved them out of this piece of rock. You can almost see here where it looks like it's been cut, and then they took the rocks and made this wall, and that formed up the trail. A lot of work in this wall. So It's 9 o'clock. And I've been on trail about 2.5 hours, and I've only done a little less than 4 miles. So I'm not really flying today for sure, but it's been a long uphill push, that's for sure. I think we're coming to our first viewpoint. Wow. Welcome to the Smokies, y'all. It's pretty cool, huh? Clouds laying out there like a lake. It's just clouds. So it's a real pretty day, but it's getting warm. No question about that. So we got about a half mile really before we get to anything I would consider the top. There's still climbing to be done, but it gets better after about half a mile. All right, everybody, just a little bit of a status update check-in. I've got about 9 miles to go to get to the shelter. And there's another shelter in between here and there, though, in about 1.5 miles. And I'm gonna stop there and have a kind of an early lunch, load up on a lot of water because it's pretty warm, and keep on marching on. So since I've kind of found a bit of a flat spot, I'm about to hit a spot where I'm gonna drop down a good bit and then followed by a pretty good climb up. So it might be a good time now to do a quick video update. I wanted to share with everybody kind of what my plans are for this hike. I had kind of kicked around, you know, doing the Smokies, then going back home, take a few days and come back, kind of spread it all into the fall. But I think I just want to go ahead and press through and get her done. So I've got a plan for the next 3 weeks. Every single day has a plan, believe it or not, and with certain miles attached to it or whatever. I know exactly where I should be and what time I should be there and that kind of stuff. So my intent is to follow that plan, and of course the biggest part of that plan is finishing out the Smokies. Now the Smokies is an interesting character. You know, it's really way more of a wilderness than is the 100-mile wilderness in Maine. Because once you get into the Smokies, you're kind of in the Smokies, and unless you want to turn around and go back, you're kind of in it. The best opportunity, if not kind of the only opportunity, to get off via car is at Newfound Gap, which is kind of at the center point of the Smokies. Not really the center point, but close to it. And from there, you can typically go into, well, if you're going towards North Carolina, you'd go into Bryson City, or if you go the other way, you'd go into Gatlinburg. But the road back to Bryson City, I think, is closed. And I think the options of getting off there are pretty limited this year anyway. So I had already planned, it didn't really matter to me. I'd planned to go straight through it. And that's my intent here, to let you guys know. My plan is to just go straight through the Smokies without getting off. So it's the Smokies is by itself 76 miles, something like that. So that's roughly 5 days hiking, 4 nights. And of course I stayed out last night, but that didn't count. So total of 5 nights out before I get back to civilization and resupply and all that. So I'm carrying a fair amount of food to do that. And Smokies is also a place where there's lots of rules. So the rules are you have to stay in the shelter. Now, if you're a thru hiker, you have to defer to those folks who may have made reservations. So if you're not a thru hiker, you have an option to, in fact, you're required to make reservations for given shelters on certain nights. So like reserving a hotel space. And if you're a thru hiker, Of course, you don't know if it's all reserved out or not, so you go in and you can set up your stuff in the shelter. But if a bunch of people with reservations come and claim the space, then you have to then move out, and then you're permitted to camp if the shelter is full. So there's a lot of stuff there to manage through, but you definitely have to stay in or very close to the shelter. So that dictates how many miles you're going to walk and what your plan is on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, it's kind of something you got to navigate. But that's the plan for now, at least the intermediate plan for the Smokies. I can share more with you once I get out of the Smokies, of course. But we're going to keep on pressing on. I'm going to try to get down the bottom of this hill and then back up the next, and make my way to the shelter. Catch up with you a little bit later. That's where we came from. That's where we're going. Seeing a lot of signs of wild hogs up in here, rooting and tearing things up. I know that they do have wild hog problems in the Smokies. A few tracks. We'll see some, we get on up in here, I think you'll see some barricades to prevent them crossing, but they populate so fast, you know, it's just really difficult to manage the populations unless you cut hunters loose to getting them. And I don't think they're going to allow much hunting here in the national park, so probably not going to happen. So anyway, we're making good progress. We've got probably less than 7 miles, I would say, to get to the shelter for this evening. We got one big climb left in front of us. We just kind of hit a dip right here. And in fact, I don't think we're quite to the bottom of the dip. And when we get down here, we're going to start up. And we got about a 1,300 foot climb. And once we get to the top of that one, we'll be above 6,000 feet. So we've been really gaining a lot of elevation along the way. But doing okay. Just a little more hot and a little more humid than probably I've become accustomed to. So we'll just continue to drink a lot of water and press on. Hope everybody's having a good day. A little bit of a view here. A big old dark cloud is hopefully moving that way. I think it is moving that way because everything here looks like it just got rained on. Just soaking wet, everything's wet. Trail's completely soaked. I kind of believe that maybe that dark cloud dropped some rain here before I got here, which is the first time ever. And so it's moving away. It's moving in the direction of the shelter I'm going to, I think. That's okay too. Fill up the creeks with fresh water. Okay, so we've got, I believe, I think we've got about 4 miles, 3.5, somewhere between 3 and 4 miles left to go today. So we're doing okay. We should be finished up at a reasonable amount of time, probably 4:30, something like that. All right, everybody. We made it to what is considered a helicopter pad. They try to keep it pretty clean, obviously, clear it off. And I guess if someone gets hurt or distressed and they have to do a helicopter pickup, they call them helivac, then this is where they come to get them, haul them, take them to the hospital. Pretty view. All right, everybody, got another view. This one's different from what we had at the helicopter pad. The helicopter pad looked off to the east towards North Carolina, and I believe we're now looking off towards Tennessee to the west. Pretty nice. All right, everybody, we have made it to our destination. This is the tri-corner knob shelter. It's a mouthful. Tri-corner knob shelter. So all in all, 14.6 miles today. I knew it was around 15, so I'm pretty happy with that. Lots of climbing. I looked at the app, and in total, we've had 5,500 feet of climb today. 5,500, over 5,500 feet in ascent today. Now we've had about 2,000 feet in descent, so net over 3,000 feet in climb. But you still have to you still have to climb the 5,500 feet, right? So it was a tough day, I'll be honest with you. But we're solidly up in the Smokies now. And we've crossed over elevations of 6,000 feet today. I think for coming down here in the shelter, we've dipped down a little bit now, and I know that we're well over 5,000 feet, but we've got some elevation here for sure. And so again, tri-corner knob shelter. Happy to be here. I've never stayed in this particular shelter. I think I stopped here and got water. The water's right here several years ago. And I felt like then that this shelter was pretty rough. But since then, I think they've done some work. I think this this roof is all new. I think they've done some work in here in terms of structural work and kind of clean it up a little bit. But you can still see there's some cleanup needs to happen. It's not trash, it's just wood where people have thought they're going to build a fire, and they got wood everywhere, so it's not that bad. It's just something that needs to be straightened up. But this is my home for the evening in all of its glory. So we'll settle in, relax a lot, and rest, and get ourselves prepared for another tough day tomorrow. Hope everybody's had an awesome day, and we'll look forward to catching up with you first thing in the morning.